All right, and with a rare day off in the Utopian Baseball universe, we are here tonight with a special show. I am with David Rubin and David Wu from 401 Sports. We're going to give them an opportunity to tell you all about 401 Sports, exactly what they are, how you can get involved here in the Utopian Baseball universe. So I want to welcome David and David to the show tonight. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks,
having us.
Joey. Yeah, very happy. I've been on with you guys a couple times doing baseball preview shows, which are always super fun. And I'm a regular follower. I mean, I look every day at the standings. My Mets don't do so well, but my Angels doing pretty good. So 50-50 there. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to have you guys on. So, 401 Sports is here tonight. We're going to talk about exactly what it is, and again, how everyone watching tonight can get involved. And then after the show tonight, I am going to put up a link that David has given me so that if anyone from the universe wants to experience what we're talking about tonight, this is exclusive for Utopian Baseball Universe members. And then there will be a link to the website where any questions that maybe don't get answered tonight can be answered at your own time. And we're going to work on having David or David on maybe on a weekly basis to kind of talk about 401 Sports. But I want to, again, give these gentlemen the opportunity to talk about what they do and how it can benefit everyone in the universe. So, guys, again, welcome. Great to have you here. And David, tell me exactly what 401 Sports is for the viewer at home.
I'm sorry, that's me. I'm going to turn it off. So that it's going to be tricky, but which David are we referring to?
Just say Rubin for me.
Okay, so we'll do Rubin and David going forward. So,
all right. So 401 Sports, it's an idea that I've had for over 20 years. And at the time, I actually remember where I was when I thought of the idea. You probably don't want to know, but I was taking a shower. And I thought of the idea and I said to myself, wouldn't it be awesome if you could trade athletes as stocks? You know, I mean, a lot of people trade stocks on Robinhood, and it's becoming such a regular thing that everyone can do. And during the pandemic, Robinhood grew by 3 million users or more, probably a lot more. But this was during the first few months of the shutdown.
Right.
And so back then I thought, wow, if you could trade athletes as stocks, that would be like dream come true because it combines everything you love into one thing. Everyone loves money and everyone loves sports. I mean, the people who love sports, they're passionate about sports. They're knowledgeable about sports. In fact, the joke that we have in the company is the one thing that all sports fans have in common is that everyone thinks they know more about sports than the next guy.
I actually do.
Oh, believe me, he actually thinks that.
We all do.
And for the most part, for baseball, he's right. I mean, David Rubin, knows more about. He's forgotten more about baseball today than most people would know in their lifetime. And so, at the time, I thought, well, I don't think the timing is right. You know, the idea is right, but the timing wasn't right. And in business, you have things that are great, but they just started at the wrong time. And you have things that are so Facebook. No, I'm just kidding. No, there are things that are just, they're looking back. Oh, there was nothing special about it, but they started at the right time. So at the time, it wasn't the right time, but now it's the perfect time. You know, we have the Robinhood that I mentioned. We have NFTs. We have just the popularity of people trading items as kind of like stocks. So we're starting at the perfect time. And the way that it works is we IPO athletes, just like an Amazon IPO back in the 90s. We IPO an athlete. We determine what that IPO price is. Like a lot of the, like the regular stocks, right? Some company decides, okay, we're going to sell the stock at $20. We IPO that athlete, and then once it sells out, it's traded on the secondary market on the trading floor. The trading floor is completely dictated by the users. The market determines where that price goes. They, of course, will base it on something. What is this stock worth? It's not, it's a lot more substantial than an NFT, which is basically backed by nothing. It's just, hey, I like this thing, or I think I can make money, so I'll buy it. Ours is much different. It's much more powerful. Ours is based on a valuation system. So when somebody throws a no-hitter, his value goes up, his book value goes up. When somebody hits 40 home runs, throws for 4 touchdowns, passes 200 strikeouts. I think David's going to mention that later.
Yep.
And all these statistical accomplishments increases the book value of these stocks, of these athletes. So based on that, people can speculate, right? If you had bought Tom Brady, if we were in existence back then, when I first thought of the idea, Tom Brady would have IPO'd probably 5 cents because he was a 6th rounder.
Right.
Today, if he keeps going and wins another Super Bowl or 2, he might get the $300 on the book value, right?
Yep.
So we're looking at a 1,500 increase. The 15,000 or 1,500. It's one of those. If you invested $1,000 in Tom Brady, it would be worth millions. Okay, so that's the power that we have on the stock market. We also have kind of like blue chip type of stock. Somebody that we would be $40, they may eventually get to 150. So we're looking at something to the magnitude of like 4 to 5x. Which if you tell me I'm gonna 4x my money in 10 years, okay, I think most people would do it. I think everyone should do it, and that's a magnificent return. So we're really excited about this. We're really proud of this because part of our mission is we want to change kind of the landscape of fantasy sports gambling, all these kind of esports, these activities that people love to do. They love to put their money where their mouth is, right? They want to make money with their knowledge, with their skill. And so they go on these sites and they play, they bet, however you want to call it. On our site, you play. We're a game. We're not a gambling site. We're a fantasy game. So most of these sites, they have a very, very depressing statistic. 1%, 1 to 2% on a really good month,
right,
will make money, which means 99% they're losing money. We don't like that at all, right? I mean, I'm a fantasy player. I dabble slightly in gambling. I play esports, and basically, you are just paying for the thrill because ultimately you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
That is the business model. So all of your viewers, if they play fantasy sports, if they gamble, if they play esports, statistically, they will lose money. And that is not okay with us. We want our users to make money. The model that we created is so exciting because I think something like 88% of our stocks have gone up, right? So we're expanding our market, right? The market keeps getting bigger. Whereas if you think about all the other gambling sites, fantasy sites, their market shrinks, keeps getting smaller. If I bet $100, you bet $100, you win. You don't get my $100. You get my $80, maybe. Yeah, sometimes even less. So the market went from $200, right, 100 each from us, shrunk down to 180. So every time something happens on the site, it gets smaller and smaller. The market gets smaller and smaller. So by definition, everyone loses except the house. For us, our market gets bigger and bigger, and everyone wins. And that is what we want. We're not about taking money from our users. We want everyone to win, because the way we set it up, we also win when you guys win. So don't get me wrong. We care about ourselves too, but we wanted to create something. We wanted to create an activity that everyone can win, that people can feel really good about it. And you can really, for really the first time, you can actually profit from your knowledge of sports.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know if I missed anything, but David, Rubin, you can chime in to add anything.
So, just real quick, someone asked a question. We're not talking sports cards. We're talking about a virtual IPO of athletes from baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, WNBA, golf, tennis, etc. Every sport that can be played, we will be eventually IPOing athletes in that sport. So there's a couple of ways that a stock increases. And I'm going to use two examples. Pete Alonso, a favorite of Joey's, a favorite of mine. And actually, it's unusual. At 401, we love every athlete. Yes, beautiful. At 401, we love every athlete because the reality is we love sports, right? And at the end of the day, you could be a Mets fan and Freddie Freeman on the Braves beats the heck out of us, but you still respect the heck out of Freddie Freeman because he plays hard and he's a great player. And it's okay to lose because we know we're going to lose in sports. As David said, the great thing about us is you're not going to lose with us because you can now. Right.
Statistically, you will
right.
most likely to win. Yeah.
Right.
Somebody can lose.
Somebody can lose, of course. You can be stupid in anything and make bad moves in anything, right? But the nice thing is you got people in Utopian who are rabid baseball fans. In general, probably rabid sports fans. And so you learn over time. Like, I wasn't a Pirate fan growing up, but I loved Roberto Clemente. If Roberto Clemente had a stock that I could buy in, I would have been bought in all day long. And I did. I invested in his baseball card. I couldn't buy multiple shares of Roberto Clemente's baseball card. And if I wanted to buy a card, I had to spend a huge amount of money. And if tomorrow nobody wanted to buy it, I've got some beautiful cards that nobody wants anymore. Right.
Well, I have a garage full of upper decks.
Right. I have a couple of unopened boxes that I was hoping to get Ken Griffey Jr.'s in.
Yeah, let me add something on the baseball cards. So we're not doing baseball cards. In fact, the very first iteration, I still have the business plan for this. The very first iteration of this idea was based on baseball cards. Right. So what you have seen right now, that is, the trend right now, which are NFTs. So people are buying these pictures, these photo stocks or whatever, digital, whatever things that they're selling. That was the first idea that I had. But the more I thought about it, the weaker it became. And if you really, if you guys have NFTs, I don't want to discourage you guys, but they're really not based on anything. Right. It's just based strictly on supply and demand. Right. And if the demand drops, like the upper deck cards and the tops and the Fleer and the Donruss and all the cards, I have mountains of cards that are worth 1 penny each. Right. And that penny, you'd be lucky to get a penny out of somebody for that. So yes, they're worth a penny, but you can't. There's no one would buy it. Right.
They're essentially.
So I'll buy your cards, David.
So I recently moved, and I think my wife threw it all away. but I kept the Griffey rookie and all the other ones. So that was the first iteration of the idea. And the more I thought about it, right, I wanted something that had backbone, right? That we guarantee. So the price that it gets to, the book value, we guarantee that book value.
Right.
So when Tom Brady, we're not going to IPO Tom Brady, it's too late in his career. But if we had, when Tom Brady ends his career, makes the Hall of Fame, and his book value is $300, a cash out button lights up. You click that button. If you had 10 shares, $3,000 goes into your account.
Right.
So that's the difference. That's the 401 difference that nobody is doing.
Right.
And that's what separates us from everyone else. NFTs, other kind of simulated stock market. Oh, and I want to highlight the word simulated, because we're not a real stock market.
Right.
You don't own actual shares of Pete Alonso. It's just
virtual.
a game.
It's a game, so it's a virtual share. Yeah. And to stick with Pete for a minute, we IPO'd him last week, and we did a limited run. It was only 50,000 shares, and it sold out super quick. And the interesting thing was, we've been getting so many people involved and people loving it. We have decided with a number of shares each week, we will put somebody out at below what their book value is. Okay. Pete Alonso was worth $3. His book value was $3. We IPO'd him at $2.95. Day or two later, Pete Alonso hits his 35th home run, and his book value went up even more, another 25 cents. So his book value went up to $3.25. So if you bought just a share, you already have made 35 cents. But on top of that, because there's a marketplace, there were a number of people who didn't get in immediately. It sold out so quick. They didn't buy their Pete right away. And someone else said, I want 100 shares of Pete. I'll pay you $3.50 for it. And someone who had shares of Pete offered them up at $3.50, and 100 shares are sold. Somebody else who didn't get in initially and said, oh, God, Pete Alonso is my favorite. I want, 400 shares. I'm hoping someone's going to make them available. And so someone else made them available, 150 shares or 200 shares, whatever it was, at $4. They want to make a little more money. And someone said, $4, I'm in. Let's do it. And so the marketplace, the trading floor, actually pushed Pete's price up because people believe in him. They know what kind of value he has. They know what kind of long-term value Pete's going to have. And so they're willing to say, hey, I'm going to invest in Pete Alonso. I think Pete's going to have a great career. I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Famer or not, but I think he's really great. And so it drove the price. These are people in the marketplace, right? These are users. The price started at $2.95. It's now trading at $5.75. 1 week later, $5.75. So, and that all came from users wanting shares of Pete.
Yeah, you speculate his future value, right? I mean, for a guy, if anyone comes to the league and hits 52 home runs, is it 52? 53? 52, right?
Well, he hit 53. Yeah.
53. Even better. Hits 53 home runs in his rookie year. You should stock up on that guy, right? And you've heard that talk on ESPN, on all the sports broadcasts for years. For years, you're talking about, oh, this guy's stock's going up. Oh, man, I would stock up on this guy, right? When I remember when Mark Pryor, remember Mark Pryor? Pryor came on the scene. People are saying he has a perfect delivery. He'll never get injured, right? All right. Tim Lincecum never get injured. Right?
Okay, how about Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood on the same team, right? Both of them the same thing they were talking about. Yeah.
Well, right. The talk was, man, you got to stock up on this kid, right? But, everyone's talking about it. How do you do it? You can't do it. Well, now you can.
Right.
Now you can. So Pete Alonso, a lot of people think he's Hall of Fame bound. I mean, if he keeps hitting home runs like this, he's going to hit over 500 home runs.
He's like a Harmon Killebrew. He's like a modern-day Harmon Killebrew, Jim Tomei, right? He's got skyrocketing power. He is improving every year. He works really hard, and he's a great kid. He's very charitable, and he wins the home run derby, and he gives back money. So you love rooting for a guy like that. So you could buy a baseball card, absolutely, or you could really engage in virtually owning a share of Pete Alonso by buying a share at 401 Sports. And it's so exciting. You know, like, as David said, Tyler Malley, right? We did something called Hidden Gems. So what we do is the IPO team, all of us put our heads together and we try to look for who are players who are having great seasons, who are kind of under the radar. Maybe they play in a smaller market, right? Tomorrow, for instance, Cedric Mullins. He's on a 30-30 season. People don't know who he is. He was an all-star with Baltimore, but he's playing on a team that lost 100 games. So people don't readily know who Cedric Mullins is. Okay? Tyler Malley is having the best season of any Reds pitcher. He was not heralded at the start of the year. Everyone talked about Sonny Gray and Wade Miley and Luis Castillo. And then here you have Malley, just kind of flies under the radar, and he's doing unbelievably well. We IPO him today, this morning, and he already gained $1 in value, in book value, because he struck out his 200th 2 days ago. And so tonight, overnight, his value increases to $1. He had 0 book value. He jumped to $1 overnight, just like that. And we had put him on, I think, at 45 cents, David, was his IPO price?
45 cents.
45. Sold out immediately. And now everybody's jumping in because they're like, wait a minute. They're figuring it out. Hey, he just struck out 200. We're looking at the game rules, which are posted. If he hits 200 strikeouts, does it? Yeah. So they're like, wait a minute. This guy did amazing. I want Tyler Malley shares. And he's young. And this is, he's only been a couple of seasons. I want to invest long-term in this guy. So I'm going to buy shares, and I'm going to say every year, I'm going to wait for Tyler Malley. I'm going to root for him to get a Cy Young. I'm going to root for him to win 20 or win 15, strike out 200, be an all-star. And every time these things happen, his value increases. And it's legitimate numbers. As David said, these are numbers that are not, it's like, okay, is this player a great player? I think he is. You don't think is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think so. You can't take Pete Alonso's 53 home runs away from him. You can't take Tyler Malley's 200 strikeouts away from him. He earned that. Guaranteed value. So that's always there. Now,
so Joe, is it possible for you to put that referral code in the chat? Because I think I'm reading the comments and I'm really
So I was gonna tell you guys we have interest right now. It says I'm in referral code. I'm gonna actually I don't if I exit the StreamYard app right now, I would actually leave the room. So what I'm gonna do is immediately after the show is done, I'm gonna put it up in the Utopian group.
Okay.
Like 30 seconds after we're done, people are going to have access to it. We have another comment here that says, just jumped off and read the website. I dig it and I'm interested. This is really cool. So we're getting multiple interests so far tonight. So this is really exciting. So so whoever commented this tonight, immediately after the show, David Rubin has sent me a link that's exclusive to Utopian Baseball Universe members. So we're going to put that up immediately tonight. And then I'll also have a link to the actual 401 Sports website that can answer any questions.
You can actually get it through there. You can get it through there, Joe. So just give that website, because what will happen is let them go through there. Okay. So that way, when they do sign up, they'll get a 25% bonus fund. So for every dollar they invest, they'll get 25 cents back or 25% back in bonus funds, so they can buy additional IPOs.
Great.
And through that link, you can you'll see all about us. And then you'll also be able to access the FAQ. Teaches you how to play. You can see the game rules there. And we're not in, so I just want to caution, we're not in all 50 states yet. We just added Texas and Wyoming. We're getting there. But, stand by, because we will be in all 50 and we will be international. We will be worldwide very soon. And we're adding new sports. Right now we're doing baseball, football, basketball. Hockey's coming shortly. WNBA is coming shortly. Literally every sport that there is, we will get in there. Yeah.
How many states are you in right now, roughly?
We're in 22 plus DC.
All right.
So most of the big one, New York is a strange animal, so we're staying away for now. But the top three we're in California, Texas, and Florida, and also
Illinois,
Illinois.
yes. Illinois, yes. We are in Illinois. Absolutely.
You
Oh,
guys in
okay.
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Are we?
I will check while we're talking right now. I will check.
Okay.
I want to make. I don't want to. I know that the website is really cool, and I want all of you guys to join. There is a lot of incentive to join as an early adopter. We have strategically priced all the IPOs much lower than they should be, because the early users are the heroes for us, because you're helping us get started, you're referring your friends, and we want you guys to make money. So we want, and that gives us more stories to tell.
Sure.
I'll tell you one right now. One of the early investors saw an opportunity and bought quite a few shares of David Fletcher and Shohei Ohtani. We IPO'd David Fletcher at 20 cents. We IPO'd Shohei at $20. He and among a bunch of other stocks, he bought all the stocks that went up by a lot. So David Fletcher went 8x in the first month. So his portfolio has increased over, I don't know if it's still over 400, but at one point it was over $400,000.
Wow.
So this is real. This is real money, not fake money, not play money. So
Right.
So that's the opportunity that the early people have. Later on, once we get a lot of users, we're gonna resume the regular pricing for IPOs. You'll still make money, but not at the rate that the portfolios are growing right now. Next, so to celebrate our entrance into Texas, next week is Texas week, and we've got some just ridiculous bargains. Luca, we're IPOing Luca. Luca should be trading at like $80.
Right.
But he's not going to be IPO'd at that. He's going to be much, much lower. Just come to the site and find out how much lower. Yeah, it should be up by the end of the week.
Yes. And by the way, yes, in Wisconsin, Joey.
Oh, great.
The states are right now. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, and we have a lot of members of the group are Wisconsin, California, New York, Illinois.
Yeah, I'm going to actually. Yeah, New York, we'll get there. I'm from New York. I'm a Mets fan, if you couldn't tell, guys who haven't seen me before on here. We're available in Alaska, California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, the great state of Texas, Utah, Washington, D.C., West Virginia, the awesome state of Wisconsin, and Wyoming.
Big one.
Wyoming, I don't know.
So I don't know what the schedule is, but I think people are anxious to get started. So we're happy to come back on, to discuss other IPOs, because every week something pretty awesome happens. Even on the, so I'll tell you one quick story. So I'm from LA. I am not a 49er fan. I am the opposite of a 49er fan. But I was watching the game on Sunday night, and when Trey Lance went into the game, I became a 49er fan. I watched that play and he scored. I was cheering like I was cheering for for my Angels. That's my team. I was cheering, and I realized, wow, like this thing is powerful. Because I was like, I have never rooted for 49er anything at any point in my life. but it was thrilling. So this is we're really happy. We're really proud about this. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
Well,
one of the cool things is if you're a football fan, which I know many of our Utopian Universe people are, in addition to baseball, we've IPO'd initially all the quarterback draft and high draft picks from this year. So Trey Lawrence and Mr. Wilson and Mr. Fields and Mr. Mac Jones, who had a great game until this week. They're all available. They're all trading like crazy. And eventually, all of your favorite players will be out there. But the cool thing is right now, you're able to jump in at a much lower starting point than where these stocks will trade at in the very near future, especially a guy like Luka, as David said. A lot of basketball, a lot of football, a crazy amount of baseball. There's some unbelievable baseball names available. I encourage everyone to go on the trading floor, take a look. You'll see some incredible names out there. And yes, we will get everyone eventually. There is a science to it. I promise you. Look, if it were up to me, I would put every Met and every Angel on there yesterday. Not the way it works, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
So right now, and I'm sure it probably varies from week to week, but how many players are you adding on a regular basis in baseball-wise?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So baseball next week, we're adding 2. Generally speaking, it fluctuates. We have next week we're doing a kind of a special which we can't announce yet, but there'll be 2 amazing baseball players, 2 NFL players, and an NBA player.
Okay.
And they all have something very important in common, which everyone will learn pretty quickly next week.
I already spilled the beans.
You spilled it? Okay. So we're welcoming in the great state of Texas with 5 incredible players. So Alperen Sengun from Houston Rockets will be Monday. And by the way, guys, this isn't going up on the site till tomorrow.
I just said Texas. I didn't say I said Luca. Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm reading so when you see me like big smile, I'm just reading your comments. I really appreciate everybody's response.
Awesome.
I'm actually right now, I'm in the process of putting the link up on the group. So we're going to actually have the link on before we even exit the show tonight.
Great.
And
Utopian guys, just so you know, I'm around all the time. I check daily. Joey and I are friends. I've done a couple of the preview shows. I'll be doing some additional postseason shows with Joey, and we're going to be around all the time. But I'm always on. I'm always around. So if you ever want to ask me a question, by all means, I'm available. And of course, you can send us any question you have right on the site as well. Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to talk baseball, we will not refuse you.
And I'm actually.
Somebody said geeker. That's us.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'd be interested in doing is having you guys on every week to just let us know who's available, what's going on. That's an open invitation. We can even talk about that after the show today, but I'm actually posting it right now.
Great.
So this is...
Someone's asking, who should I buy? I'm going to answer that. Whoever you think you're most comfortable with and whoever you enjoy the most. Yeah. I tell friends all the time, they ask me, what should I do about this monetarily thing that I said, I'm not an accountant. I don't play one on TV. I would never recommend who to buy because, I have my own personal, thought process and it doesn't make it right. It just makes it mine. I would say jump in and look at the names and see who you have some kind of connection to. There are athletes for everyone. There are all kinds of interesting, young, mid-career, exciting, fun players. Go on, read the blurbs about each player. We provide you with the stats that were current as of the day that we issued them. And eventually, I'll give everyone a little bit of a sneak peek under the tent. Eventually, we're going to be able to provide ongoing statistics and articles and information about every athlete that we IPO. and it's going to be, it's incredible now. It's so much fun now, and it's just going to continue to get more fun as we grow and as we get more great fans added to our system, just like everybody in the Utopian baseball.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a little Elon Musk, and I'm gonna answer that question directly. Okay, we're small enough. We're not gonna get in trouble. And, my thing is, if you buy in aggregate, like the group, you're gonna make money. Mm-hmm. So if your motivation is to make money, just buy everybody. But if you want to go for it, right, just pick the low guy, right? Pick somebody low that you think it's gonna do something.
Tyler Malley, right? 45 cents.
It could 100x, right? I mean, you could 100x your money over time. So here's my recommendation. Is this legal? Am I gonna? I'm Elon Musking it, right? Okay, Trae Young. Buy Trae Young because he is so low right now. People don't understand how low he is. Okay, you erase this after. Don't put this get in trouble. Trae Young.
David's not showing his last name or his phone number or anything. So
Johansson.
Change your username to David.
Right.
Just
So someone just asked if Luca's going to drop next Friday. And someone else asked, how long have we been working on this? Well,
we've been working for a while.
David's been working. How long have we been working on this? So David thought about it 20 years ago. Yeah. He's been working on it actively for a number of years now. I've been.
I don't know if you guys play fantasy, but I started the website RotoHog back in 2007.
Right.
And that was pretty popular at the time. We were a fantasy stock market, so all fake money. So I already had this idea back then. It just wasn't the right time. We actually had the game that the NBA adopted. So the RotoHog game was the first official fantasy basketball game of the NBA.
Right.
And so I did that, and then we launched about almost 2 months ago. So this is like the infant stage. You guys are catching this like Amazon in the early 2000s.
Right.
This is early. You guys have access to the stocks at the lowest price that they'll ever be.
Right.
That's not true. I mean, somebody could flame out and drop, but
right.
But in terms of IPOs and all that, this is as low as it's going to be. So it's the perfect time. I wish I was a user because I can make so much money.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's terrible. If I was doing this as my only business and I was just jumping on and know which players to buy and when, I don't even want to think about how much money it would be worth for me now. Yeah. I mean, I kind of play it on the side. Like I don't do it with active numbers. I would be up at least about $140,000 in my mind from what I wanted to buy and when. Yeah. I try to track it that way. Yeah.
So if, for the people watching right now, the link is live. It's up in the, it's its own link in the Utopian Baseball universe. I've also added it to this thread. So if you're watching this show right now, you can see the link in the comments, and then standalone link, which I've pinned, which means that if you're logging in for the first time to the group today or tomorrow or next week, it'll be the first thing you see. So we're going to keep that up there, and we'll figure out the date and time, but we're going to try to have David on a regular basis just to kind of keep us updated on what's going on with 401 Sports. Anything else you guys like to add? I mean, this is fantastic. I'm really excited for you guys to be on board here in the Utopian Baseball universe. Obviously, we're getting a lot of interest from the group so far, and this is going to be a really exciting partnership going forward.
Love it.
Yeah.
I've told Joey what I love so much about the Utopian Baseball is just I love seeing the names Roberto Clemente and Buck O'Neill and Judy Johnson and Tom Seaver, and just side by side, right? Baseball is evergreen. Sports are evergreen, right? We grow up with players. We move through our lives with these players. You can think back to a game you went to with your mom, your dad, or a friend, or just someone, and they were so special. And you make these connections with these players, right? What speaks to me so much about 401 Sports is I can make these connections, and I do, and I can actually try to make money at the same time while I'm enjoying the game, while I'm rooting for players, and I'm not going to get pissed off. I don't gamble, and I've told this to David, I've told this to Joey. I don't gamble because I hate the idea of losing all my money on a game. I get angry, and then or in fantasy sports, sometimes I'll have a player who, is on the team that the Mets are playing, and I'll have to root for him to do well against my Mets, and it hurts. You can buy Juan Soto, for instance. He's been IPO'd and he's doing incredibly well. Talking about another undervalued stock. If I were recommending someone, I didn't say I was, but that might be a player I might put out there. He's been called the next Ted Williams, right? As a Met fan, I love watching him play. I respect the hell out of him. He's a hard, nose to the ground player who tries really hard. He's got incredible numbers. He grows and develops every year, and he's available. So to me, it's a no-brainer to watch him on my big screen, see him play the Mets, kill us. But at the same time, I'm thinking, wow, he just hit 3 home runs. I just made some money, in my stock because he did something pretty incredible. So it's really exciting to be able to enjoy the games, enjoy the sport, and feel like you own a virtual share of that player, as they grow and develop.
So as I think we're wrapping up, I want to share this story because I want to share my passion for baseball with everybody. And it all happened now. When I was 12 years old, and the Angels they're just my life. Like I live and die with the Angels. And they made the playoffs. They're up 2-0. My favorite player to this day is Fred Lynn, hitting like 600 in that series. And I was so excited. They're going to make the World Series, right? They're up 2-0. It was best of 5 back then, right?
82, right?
82, yeah, 82. Okay. So they go ahead and lose the next 3 games, right? They're eliminated. I cried for hours, right? So, I'm a kid, so of course I'm going to cry. But then in 86, right, they're up 3-1. Okay, they're up 3-1. I'm like, they're going to make the World Series, right? So, they go ahead and lose the next 3 and they're eliminated. And this is game 6. After game 6, I said, I'm not going to cry. I'm older now. I'm not going to cry. And when they lost the last out, okay, at that game 7, I cried for about 3 hours straight. My parents came up to my room. It's like, what is wrong with you? And I said, I don't know, but I can't stop crying. And then, okay, so that's me. Then, years later, I have my first son who loves the Angels maybe more than I do. So, I don't remember exactly which year. It might have been 09. It might have been 09. We were playing the Red Sox, so we're most likely we're gonna lose. So we're gonna lose the series, but we were doing well, and then we were about to win this game. If Eric Ibar had laid down that bunt, we would have won that game. Okay, but he didn't. He whiffed, and the guy. It was a suicide, so the guy got tagged out at home. Okay, so now my son and I watching it, we're so disappointed, right? I'm not crying, but really disappointed. So that was October, right? So fast forward to February, right? One night, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. My son's screaming, he's crying, okay? So I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm not making this up. He said, why did Ibar not make that bunt? So I was so proud of him. He was 7, right? I was so proud of him, and I thought, okay, I think baseball is in his blood, and I just got back. He's playing in college now, so maybe we're gonna IPO him for about a penny. So anyway, I wanted to share with your viewers that, this is a passion. This is not a business. Yes, it is a business, but we would almost do this for free.
Yeah.
And this is such a passion for us, and we love sports so much, and we want to expand sports any which way. So whatever we can do for you guys as well, we're there, right? This is just our community of sports fans, and we just love sports. So I'm so happy to be here. So happy to to read all the comments from your viewers. It's you got a great thing going here, Joe.
He does, and and the tip our cat to you, Joe. You have to be a visionary to make something like this happen. David's a visionary. This is his second time doing something like this. And you're a visionary because you put something together. And I know when I got involved back in February, there was a very few amount of people. 60 people, right? And I take great pride in watching your hard work develop into this incredible community where people share stories. I mean, now you and Stan do a lot of stuff together, and Stan has a couple of great sites on Facebook, and I'm a particular lover of his baseball and his particular Met site that he does. And I met him through this, and there's so many incredible people, in the universe that share this passion. People said to us, "What is your tagline?" Right? It's not a tagline. It's not a everyone has their McDonald's is your kind of place or whatever. Our slogan is not a slogan. It's our passion, your passion, because it literally is. Everyone in the universe's passion is baseball and sports, and ours is as well. And so it's incredible to be able to connect that. When we talk sports, we could go all night talking about favorite games. I mean, God, I'm surrounded by mementos of my entire life tied into sports, like David's story with Fred Lynn. I see a pretzel somewhere, and what do I think of? I think of it's probably not as good as the pretzel I had when I was 8 years old, leaving Shea Stadium with my dad for the first time, getting a giant salt pretzel walk. And I compare every pretzel I've had in my almost years to that pretzel at a ballpark, because it was special, because it was with my dad at the ballpark. And we can all, I think, tie back great parts of our lives and challenging parts of our lives to sports. And sharing that, which is what we do, is just so exciting. Very happy to be here amongst our fellow universe fanatics.
I want to piggyback on what David said about the Fred Lynn series and the Donnie Moore. I still can't watch the Beltran at bat against Wainwright. Oh, yeah. I watched it live, and I haven't seen it since. When that happened that night, my wife was on my right, my mom was on my left. I had a ball in my right hand and my glove in my left. And when he looked at strike 3, the ball just fell out of my hand. My neck dropped, and I sobbed. I was 31 years old, and I sobbed for like a half hour, like cried. My wife kissed me on the cheek. My mom kind of did this, and my daughter was like 13 months old, so she was sleeping. So she was too young, obviously, but like I sat on the couch in this position for an hour. And it's the one game, the 88. There wasn't for me, I know Socha hit that homer, but there wasn't that heartbreaking, oh my God, I can't believe this. Because when Endy made that catch, the phone was, this is before I even had a cell phone or internet. The phone was just ringing off the hook. The Mets are going to the series. Did you see that catch? And I was losing my mind. And when Beltran looked at that strike 3, I was just I can't believe it. And then 07 and then 08. And just
2021. No team before this year had ever been in first place for 100 days and not only make the playoffs, but have a losing record.
Yeah.
Mets
next year. Next year.
I'm getting too old for next year, Joey.
I know we're running out of next year's.
Yes.
Now, I actually, before we went in the air today, he said Thor looked good in the first inning. How's he doing right now?
He was out. He pitched 1 inning. That's all they want him to do. He was hitting 96 regularly. He struck out 2. Looked fantastic, throwing free and easy. And DeGrom was shut down today, which makes sense. They were going to try to bring him back if they were competing for a playoff spot. He's healthy. He's able to throw his sidelines. He's doing his bullpens. He's fine. He'll be back again next year to prove his mettle. Yeah, thank God.
Very good. Yeah. So you guys, we'll talk after the show, but you guys are going to be back at some point very soon. Hopefully, we'll get you on a regular basis to talk about 401 sports. And David, I was telling Rubin before the show, starting tomorrow, I'm going to mention you guys in the cafe pretty much daily. Just the Utopian Cafe brought to you by 401 Sports. We'll make sure not to, tie it to teams or players or anything, but get a good amount of mention in the content going forward. We have another comment here. Greg's actually a really good friend of mine. I've known Greg since
Greg.
8th grade.
Yep.
So Greg is someone who I think would be maybe interested in this. Greg, you don't have to answer yes or no right now. We're not putting you on the spot here.
No.
But, so yeah, we'll have David and David on again very soon. And by the way, David, I'm not sure if you're aware, but tomorrow our postseason starts here in the Utopian, and the Angels are hosting a postseason game against the Padres, 10 o'clock Central. Shohei's pitching against Eric Shaw. He's hitting second. Mike Trout, Fred Lynn is in the lineup. Wally Joyner. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow. Quadruple header, anchored by Padres Angels late. Guys, so much fun having you here tonight.
Likewise, Joey. Thank you.
And again, you guys will be regular fixtures here in the universe going forward. But if you're watching this right now, or if you're watching it on replay later, go to the link that we just put up right now. There's a bonus for Utopian Baseball Universe members. There's an FAQ. Anything you need to know about 401 Sports, you can be able to find right there. Again, thank you, David Rubin, David Wu from 401 Sports. And
thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll have you on again very soon.
Awesome.
All right.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And Mets are still playing 1-1. They won the first game, Joey.
Nice. Yeah. I'll turn it on here shortly. Everyone have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. for the Utopian Cafe, 8 a.m. Pirates Indians as we kick off the postseason. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Bye-bye.